So let us just go into Aham Brahmasmi here, because this is interesting. And I think another 5-10 minutes, it will be well worth thinking about what Aham Brahmasmi actually means, because it becomes relevant for the first sutra. So you have to go, where does Aham Brahmasmi come? And I've told you so many times, so when you look at a word, when you look at a combination of words, in Vedas, you just don't pluck them as though you pluck a flower from a tree. You have to actually understand those three words as they appear in the Vedas and in what context they appear in the Vedas, and also the etymology of the words. So those are all three important rules that one needs to apply to understand this. So let me read this particular place where Aham Brahmasmi comes, because I'm quite convinced many of the folks who use these three words routinely and colloquially to come up with a particular form of philosophy probably are not familiar with the background or the context in which these three words come. So they come in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. They come in the first Adhyaya, yeah, Avyakrata Brahmanam. And it's a beautiful section. To understand Aham Brahmasmi, the first context is you have to understand what is the very previous verse in that particular Upanishad. So it goes like this. Tad ahuhu yad brahma vidyaya sarvam bhavishyantaha manushya manyante kimu tad brahma aved yasmat tat sarvam abhavat iti. So that is the sentence before that. And I've given you an English translation so that we don't spend too much time on that. It says, given that self-fulfillment is attained by knowing Brahman, men like us would like to attain men like us who would like to attain self-fulfillment ask themselves, what is it that Brahman itself came to know, whereby it has become perfect and self-fulfilled? So this is a very deep philosophical question. It is basically pointing the finger at God himself, asking him, how did you become God? How did Brahman become God? Yeah, is what this philosopher is asking this question. Tad Brahma, how did he became? Okay, so the very next paragraph actually gives a whole lot of philosophical discussion on that, which is beautiful. I'll just read it because I can never be tired reading this particular paragraph from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So it says, Brahma va idamagra asi tadatmanam yeva avet aham Brahma asmi iti. Tasmat tat sarvam abhavat. Tad yo devanam pratyabhutyata sa eva tadabhavat. Tata rishinam tata manushyanam. Tadetat pashyan rishihi Vamadevaha pratipede aham manuhu avam aham suryascha iti. Tadidam api etarhi ya evam veda aham brahma asmi iti sa idam sarvam bhavati. Tasya hana devashta na abhutya ishata atma hi esham samabhavati. Atayo anyam devatam upaste anyoso anyo ahamasmi iti nasaveda. Yata pashuhu स देवानां यताह वै बहवः पशवो मनुष्यं भुञ्जुः एवं एकैकः पुरुषो देवान् भुनक्ति एकस्मिन् एक एव पशाव आदीयमाने प्रियं भवति किमु बहुषुः तस्माद् येषां तन्न प्रियं तदेतान् मनुष्या विद्युः. Okay, so this is the whole paragraph talking about Aham Brahmasmi. What a detailed, clear, scientific, rational philosophy should do is, it should not just pluck this Aham Brahmasmi, put it aside and say, I am Brahman, and start flaunting this around and come up with a wrong philosophy. What you need to do is, you need to see the Aham Brahmasmi as it exists in this Upanishad. So what is this actually saying? So let's go back. The previous verse, here's how did Brahman became Brahman is the question. So the immediate answer here is Brahma va idamagra asit. Before creation, Brahma was the only person who was there. And when he was there, he always knew him as Aham Brahma Asmi. So what does Aham, Brahma and Asmi actually mean? So this is how you look at this word. So in a colloquial sense, if you look at it, Aham Brahma Asmi means I am Brahman. But that is not the language of the Vedas. Yeah, the language of the Vedas is ancient, 3000. I mean, it's eternal, of course, but you're looking at 5000, 6000 years ago. What was the meaning of Aham and Brahma and Asmi in that? And one of the key messages there is every word in the Vedas is etymological. Everything needs to be broken. Remember, we did a topic on Chandas in Vedas. What is Chandas? Chadayanti iti Chandamsi. That means Chandas means Vedas. So Chadayanti means it needs to be broken. It needs to be split open and then you see the meaning. So that is the secret language and sacred language of the Vedas. So Aham, for example, here actually you know what it means. Aham is a name of God, is a name of Brahman himself. He himself is called Aham. Why? Brihadaranyaka Upanishads itself gives a reason. Tasya Upanishadam Ahariti, Tasya Upanishad Ahamiti. So Brihadaranyaka, there is internal evidence in the Upanishads itself to say that Aham is a secret name of God. Let's go to Aitareya Upanishad. There it says, Sahovacha Tvameva Janiyam, and it goes on, Uvacha Prano Va Aham Asmi. I am that Aham. Okay. Then you look at the etymology. So etymology of Aham, Heya means Hatum Yogyam, Heyam means that which can be discarded, that which can be thrown out. That is called Heya. Okay. So Heyam means that which can be thrown. Hanyamanatvat Ham. So that is the etymology of the word. Ham means that which can be thrown. So the opposite of Ham is Aham. Yeah. Aheyatvat is called Aham. So Aheyatvat Aham Namas. That means that thing which cannot be discarded, the undiscardable is the quality of that Brahman. Why is he undiscardable? Because he is inside us as Paramatma. So this is this body. Inside this body is just Jiva, and inside the Jiva is the Supreme Being. Can we get rid of, can we ever exist without the Supreme Antaryami in us? That is impossible. So he is undiscardable, and that is the reason why he is called Aham. Now, Brahma, we have done the etymology of Brahma. Brahma means he who is all pervasive in time, space, and guna. So, this Aham and Brahma essentially captures the quality of the Supreme. He who is inside us is Antaryamin, and who is outside as all pervasive being. Who is that person? Yeah, so there is a lot of description about that in the Vedas. Antarbahishta tat sarvam vyapya narayana stitaha. That is the definition of Narayana or Brahman or Vishnu. It says Antar Bahishta Tat Sarvam. He is pervading everywhere, outside and also inside me. He is Narayana. Okay. Asmi, look at the word Asmi. The etymology of Asmi is Sarvada Asti Iti Meyam. That means he knows himself as Antarbahishta Tat Sarvam always. So Brahman is always aware and conscious of its eternal existence and perfection. So those three words, Aham Brahmasmi, is so profound with philosophical significance, describing the qualities of the Supreme. It is not saying you are Brahman. It is actually talking something entirely much more at a deeper philosophical level and giving us the grasp of who this Brahman is. And then this Upanishad then goes on to say that whoever knows the Supreme Being, that he knows himself as Aham Brahma Asmi, eventually he will also reach his fulfillment, i.e. he will also reach his moksha. His moksha essentially is the attainment of his fullness. Yeah, there are different cups of different sizes, and you fill them all with water, and each cup has a different volume of water. But when you look at an individual cup, it is full in its own right. So are the jivas and their blissful nature. So it opens up deeper levels of philosophy. HinduKnowledgeAcademy.com will celebrate Vedic culture and present its philosophies to the modern Hindu in an accessible format. Our ancient heritage is our greatest strength. Through preservation and dissemination, together let us spread positivity in the world. Thank you for listening and welcome to Hindu Knowledge Academy.